wise man once said, well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has a body like you. The subject of today's episode is the 40th anniversary of George Michael's debut album, Faith. Now, even though I said it was the 40th anniversary of Faith, and that would make sense, the album is actually 39 years old come October. I don't know why they would have released it in 2026, when in 2027, it would have actually been 40. But anyway, George Michael's Faith was an absolute revelation. Obviously, the leader of Wham, main singer, songwriter, etc. Wham were just about huge every country they ever released records in. And George's debut solo album, to call it a game changer would be kind of a crime, actually. The album was #1 on both sides of the Atlantic. I believe it spent 12 weeks at #1 in the US and ended up spending most of a year actually in the top 10, which is no mean feat, especially when you got artists like Prince, Michael Jackson, Madonna. You know, it was a very competitive time, the late 80s. Faith spawned, I believe it was 4 #1 singles in the US, which I believe was the first time a solo artist had ever had 4 #1s from one album. I believe that might have been a UK solo artist, because Michael Jackson probably did that with Thriller. But Faith has been one of those albums that just continued to grow and grow and grow. The tour, everything about that album, it was just everywhere in the 80s. I was, I believe, 8 years old when the album came out. I remember my dad having it on CD. It was one of the first CDs we ever had in our house. I remember it was really cool because it was actually like a picture CD. This was back when, you know, text was all you got on the front of a CD. So it's an album that I've grown up with. I own an original copy. But today, I'm going to pick up the limited edition new release on black and red marble. And it actually splits the album into 2 albums. It's a single disc LP, but they've decided to split it over 2. So I am hoping, sound-wise, it will actually be quite dynamic. And we will check that out at the end of the video. But for now, we are walking to the record store, and we are going to grab our copy of Faith. And just like that, I am back in the record room. In fact, this is the all new record room because we've been doing some decorating at home. And as you can see now, I have a wall of records behind me. It's kind of a dream come true. Anyway, George Michael's Faith. See, at the start of this video, I said it was the 40th anniversary, and that's not technically true. In fact, it's not even close to the 39th anniversary. October of this year would be the 39th anniversary. Next October would be the 40th anniversary, which makes me question, why did they release this album now instead of next year for the 40th? But who knows, maybe we're going to get something next year for the 40th anniversary. I would definitely be up for that. Some outtakes, whatever, B-sides, all of that kind of stuff. But I have Faith, and I have listened to Faith, and I like it. I am on board. I have my original copy of Faith right here. I have had this copy for, honestly, I couldn't even tell you how long I have had this copy for, because this copy has been in my record collection for, I don't know. That's the original inner sleeve. Nice picture of George on one side. You have the symbols from the album there, and it does come with a lyric sheet as well, which features this other image of George. And the disc itself comes on the old white Epic label. Ba-doom. So that was a look at the original version. Let's take a look at the new remastered version. So here we go. Album cover is the same. The jacket is the same. Hype sticker, George Michael's Faith features Faith, Father Figure, I Want Your Sex, One More Try and Monkey. Includes the full-length 12-inch version of I Want Your Sex, which I believe is all 3 parts of the song that were on the album into one thing. I think that's probably one side of record. Newly mastered and cut at half speed on red and black marbled vinyl. And then it says here, made with care and respect for the planet. Keep the outer bag to protect this record. I like that. That is pretty cool to me. That is pretty cool. And now the original version, it wasn't a 2-disc affair. And so we get this really killer. I love that. I love the Faith video. I remember watching this relentlessly as a younger person and absolutely loving it. I loved George Michael as a kid, and I still love George Michael now as an adult. So inside the package, it is now a 2-disc set, as mentioned, and the 2 discs come with, this would have been the inner sleeve, and this would have been the lyric sheet. And this one does have the lyrics. And then this one here actually has some notes that says, made with care and respect for the planet. At every step in this process, we aim to minimize the environmental impact of this product through resourcing sustainable materials and using environmentally responsible manufacturing methods. Now I know everyone's thinking bio vinyl, it's the worst thing in the world. It really isn't. We've all been buying bio vinyl for years without even realizing it. So picture inner sleeves, doesn't come with plastic polyline sleeves, but I will let that slide. It's a beautiful black and red marble disc. And I like the red text, the red font they've used, and they've kept the old Epic logo as well. And there is a cool, very cool center label. That's disc 1. And I'll show you the second disc. This is nice. Little things like changing the color on the label. The first disc is black and white, well, sorry, red and white. And the second disc is red and black. Very cool. And there you go, another picture of George on that side. And as I suspected, this whole side includes the monogamy mix of I Want Your Sex, which is all 3 parts. 1, Lost, 2, which is Rhythm, Brass and Love, and then 3, Rhythm, A Last Request. So, if you are not a fan of this album, fair enough, you know, I get it, some people are not fans of this album, but this new version is a great way to experience this album for the first time. Sound quality wise, it sounds pretty cool. You know, I listened to it, compared it to the original. Isn't a whole lot in it, to be honest with you. They both sound great. You know, if you see an original for a few bucks, grab that one. But if you're out and about and you see the new version and you think, hey, I want to have it split over 2 discs, it's more of a deluxe package, grab that one. Either way, you are getting a truly, truly fantastic album. But that's it for this episode of Spin Cycle. Thank you so much for joining me, as always. If you would like to grab some Memphis merchandise, head on over to mrpswag.com. But for now, I'll say, when you think vinyl, think Memphis.